Good morning, everybody. How's it going? This is Alan Galang, neuro-linguistic programming trainer, practitioner, teacher, and clinical hypnosis. I was going to say expert, but I want to say practitioner. Today, I wanted to share a little bit with you on another step that you can take, that we've all taken at some time or another, to help control this negative emotion that we all go through called anger. Now, just real quick, my opinion, for whatever it's worth, my belief system is that anger is a part of our life. It's something that we need to have. We just also, like anything else, have to have a certain level of control that we have over it. So it becomes more of a tool that we utilize in our life when needed versus what I call a jailer. And what I mean by jailer is where it comes out uncontrollably, and it tends to, when used improperly, it tends to put us in a position where our lives get harder, or they get more lonely, or they get more difficult than they need to be. And that's something that I grew up with that I no longer have. I definitely still have anger like anyone else. It's part of human nature, but it's something that I have, for the most part, very good control over. When I say very good control, the measure that I use for that is that during tough times, during hard conversations, tough situations, number one, the people who I care about, I'm still able to maintain a connection with. Number two, the clients and the businesses and the partnerships I have, they're still intact. So even though there's been difficult times in the past, the anger has not gone so out of control that it forces people to move away from me, which is a problem that I had when I was growing up. And number three, it also is utilized during times of potential danger. So if there's a potentially dangerous situation that's in front of me, anger can be used to a certain degree as a mechanism, as a tool to keep dangers away and to keep people that we care about, people that I care about in my life, closer to me, because it's not being used on them. That is how I measure anger, as being a control tool for myself, versus something that just tends to throw my life downhill. Okay? Now, the way that I did that, and the way that I'm hoping I can share that with you today, if you are in that position to want to know how to utilize that for yourself, is to understand what this thing is. And this thing that I'm referring to that helps control our anger, again, is beliefs. Beliefs. There's several factors to what helps us control our anger, but definitely one of the biggest key factors I've ever learned is learning to understand what I truly believe in terms of my ability to discipline my anger. Now, let me give you the notes that I've taken down for you today. Let me start off by saying, what is the definition of beliefs, especially if we're focusing on using this tool called NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. Beliefs in NLP means ideas that we think about, that we believe are true of ourselves, others, and the world. They guide us on how we act and react. Now, how beliefs influence things like confidence, and confidence is needed in order to control anger. Positive beliefs. If you believe you can succeed, you'll feel more confident about taking action. Negative beliefs. If you believe that you'll fail, you'll feel less confident, and you might avoid taking action, or the action that you want to take versus the reaction of just whatever comes out. Self-talk. This is a big one. The things that you tell yourself when you're alone, when you're by yourself, when you're stuck in your own thoughts, those actually shape your positive or negative beliefs. Positive self-talk builds confidence, while negative self-talk destroys it. Action steps that you can use to improve your daily life and to help control that feeling of anger if you're in that situation of needing to control it. Number one, identify your limiting beliefs. As always, write them down. It's best to take the thoughts out of your head and put them on paper so you can visualize it or type it out. So it's not just you looking on the inside, but it's you extracting something that you may not want inside of you anymore, and looking at it from the outside. Write them down, the things that you think you cannot do. Ask yourself why you believe this. Is it true? Number 2, challenge the negative beliefs. And you do that by finding evidence that goes against your negative beliefs. And then you replace them with positive ones. For example, instead of saying, I can't do this, like I cannot do this, you may want to try saying, I'm learning and I'm improving on this, whatever that is, every single day, or every other day, or every week. Okay? Step number 3, use positive affirmations. And I know, affirmations, we've all heard them left, right, and center. To me, affirmation is just a way of approving yourself. Affirmations, to me, that I want to share with you, is just another way of approving yourself. Approving your own positive thoughts. Approving that what you want to do is possible for you. Not a for sure, not a guarantee. If you're in that place where you don't think it's going to happen, going from I can't to I can might be a big jump. So what we usually do with our clients is we gear them towards the thought process of, well, if you don't think you can, just start off with somewhere in between and just ask yourself, is it possible for you? And oftentimes when they say, yeah, it's possible, it's not for sure, but it's possible, over time their belief system starts to lean towards, oh, wait a minute, yeah, I can. Because by opening up the possibility that something is possible for you, then what that does is allows us to take mini steps, little success moments that build up towards that thing of massive action that helps us get what we ultimately want. Okay? So again, going back to positive affirmations, write down those positive statements about yourself. And again, if you don't believe it, if you do, perfect. But if you don't, write them down anyway. And just instead of saying I am, you can write, I believe it's possible that I, whatever that is, that I become more patient, that I minimize my anger, that I become more self-disciplined. Right? It is possible. I believe it's possible. Now, if you're past possible, write down I believe, of course, right? Like you know where you're at. I'm just giving you a secondary step, just in case, a backup step. Now, once you've got that written down, repeat them daily. Like, I am confident and capable, or I believe it's possible for me to become more confident and capable. Step number 4, visualize your success. Real quick, if you're wondering, visualize success, please remember that every single successful person, every person you've ever seen on Facebook, social media, someone who's been around for a decade plus, whether they're in sports, business, or they're, someone who you look up to, 99% of them visualize. It's a practice that successful people do. So it's something worth digging into, especially if you're not used to doing it. It's worth trying. Visualize your success. Close your eyes and imagine yourself succeeding in what it is you want to do. You do that by picturing all the details, the feelings, and the emotions that you'll experience when you become successful at producing that result. And again, if it's something you've never had, then of course it's like, oh, how do I do that? It's kind of hard. Well, it's kind of like anything else you've done in your life. For example, before you got the job that you wanted, there's a good chance that you visualized what that job might be like before you started day one. Think about the house that you're in. Before you got into that house, there was probably a thought that, hey, I wouldn't mind moving into a house that's like this. Whether it's a 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, 1-bedroom apartment, a studio, a rancher, a 2-floor, 3-floor, whatever it is. Remember a time in your life where before you got what you had, there was probably a chance that you visualized something similar, if not precisely what it is that you got. And you might not remember, but please remember that even though you might not remember consciously, your subconscious might have created that vision for you. So now is your chance to just take a conscious visualization practice to imagine, just using your imagination, what it might feel like and what it might look like when you create that successful result for yourself. Number 5, take small steps. Break your goals into small, manageable, actionable steps. So in other words, if you're someone who says, I'm for example, this is a common one. A lot of my clients are going through relationship problems, and they're always saying, one day I would just love it if I could sit down with my partner and just talk without yelling, and just be there with them without yelling at each other or without getting mad at each other. Well, the opposite of not yelling or of yelling and getting mad would be something like being happy, laughing together, joking together, teasing each other in a fun and playful way, having fun with each other, right? Now, that big result might be too far down the road. So taking small steps might be as simple as something like being in the same room with them without yelling for 2 minutes, or being able to sit with them on the same table and eat peacefully, even if it means not saying a word for a little while, for the first couple of days, weeks, or months, where there's no yelling, but there's no talking. So at least there's a subtlety of being in the same room together. Or it might be as simple as taking a small step, like asking one simple question without getting angry, being neutral, or even being happy about it. Something as simple as, hey, I just wanted to ask, how's your day today? And they might say something like, fine, it was good, how's yours? And you might say something like, fine. And then separating from that room, because that might be the small step that you take in the beginning. In other words, it doesn't matter what the step is, as long as it's something gradual, something that you can notice to be a small shift. Baby steps along the way, over time, is what creates the big result. So perhaps if you're not ready, don't dive for the big result right away. Start with the small, successful daily steps that you can take. Okay? Number 6, surround yourself with positivity, or positive people, or positive situations. Positive is a word that's thrown around a lot. I like to use the word positive as well, but I also want to include other words like surround yourself with people who are happy, or happy about something. Surround yourself with environments where it lights you up a little bit, or a lot. Surround yourself with people and situations where the common talk is about how to make things better, versus the constant complaint about how everything's just not going right. Who you surround yourself with is who you become. That I never used to believe when I was younger, but now, being 46 years old, after decades of learning, I've come to realize that that's not only true, but there's actual science to that. Because neurochemically, we do impact each other. Emotionally, we do impact each other. And our reality can only go as far as the people who create their own realities that we get to visually experience and see. So if you're going to create a reality for yourself, one that's different from the one you got now, I'd challenge you to build or discover places, people, events, and situations that make you feel good about being there, and also help you feel better about yourself. Now, spend time with people who want to support and encourage you. Surrounding yourself with positivity also means limiting the time with people who bring you down. Number seven, learn continuously. So, in other words, things like reading books, watching videos, whether it's something positive on Netflix or on YouTube or on a social media channel of your favorite choice, and attend workshops and topics that interest you, both free and paid, in person and online. There's no limit as to how many groups and social events and books and videos that you can absorb, that you can get around you. I heard the famous Bob Proctor, the late Bob Proctor, years ago, it must have been 2005. He said, in the old days, if you wanted to change your life, if you wanted to change your mindset, you had to go find people and actually spend time with them. Next to that, you'd read books or listen to audio tapes. But finding people was really, really hard back then. Like there was always a gateway, usually, or there was a lot of people you had to reach out to, or a lot of events you had to drive and go to, and most of them were not free. Whereas these days, he was saying, if you cannot access your ideal people that you want to spend time with, he said, your next best bet, and I'm paraphrasing here, your next best option is to go and watch their videos and to get submerged in their videos, in their content. Try not to look at them as being perfect. They're all going to have some flaws. But notice and pinpoint those people you look up to. Look at their habits. Look at how they speak. Look at how they communicate. Try to learn about the way they think, their belief systems. Really try to absorb them as to who they are, because there's so much content on every person out there who's really trying to make a difference. And a lot of them being very positive. That if you just absorb their content, over time, your subconscious will start to do a spillover where so much of their personality will get absorbed into you that you can't help but start to act or think or believe similarly to the way they do as well. And that's a beautiful thing that the internet's provided us, is the ability to gain access to different people and characters, which can also raise our belief, our personal standards of who we are, who we want to become, oftentimes without even stepping foot outside of your house. And a lot of them are free. You don't even have to pay for that kind of access these days. Okay? So learn continuously. That's number 7. Some other examples. Next one. Start a new hobby. If you're in that position where you're thinking about learning continuously, instead of sitting there and just watching content all day, which you could, see if you can start creating a new hobby for yourself that includes absorbing this positive content, this new way of believing in yourself and believing what's possible for you, and start creating stuff, start building a hobby around that thing. So for example, I've got one client that is working on his confidence. He's gone through a lot of hardships in his life, like a lot of us have, and it killed his confidence. So one of the things we did after we stepped in and used some neuro-linguistic programming techniques to help minimize his fear and start increasing his confidence, what he started doing is putting that into practice. So the first thing he did is he said, I want to be an actor. Guy's never been an actor in his whole life, had no idea where to start. But he just said, I want to be an actor. So he chose to start studying for free on YouTube. To build his acting skills, he started making videos of himself explaining the things that he's learning. The next step to build his confidence is, instead of making his channel private, which that's how he started, he made a decision to make it public, knowing that he could be criticized, knowing that other people could look at him and think poorly of him. He was able to test his confidence all at home by just taking those steps of building the hobby of learning new skills around acting, which he does part-time. I think an hour or 2 a day. He just fits it in 5 to 6 days a week. And through that building of confidence, through that new hobby, he started taking another step. His next step was that he found an online course. Well, he found a course online which was local here in Vancouver, and he actually paid for it and went to that course for 6 weeks. It was a mini course on acting. And through that mini course, he then figured out, through our help, that he had enough experience to at least go and test himself by applying through other agents to find some work as an actor. Well, lo and behold, we started with him, I want to say around March or April. So let's just say April. April, May, June, July, August at the time of this recording. We're at 5 months now, just starting into our 5th month. Well, now he's in a position where he has a lot of confidence. He's in the habit of making his own videos. He's studying. He has a hobby of creating his own YouTube channel. And what he does on the channel is he teaches the things he's learned from other course creators, from other actors, from other actresses, all from the comfort of his home, including when he decided to step up, go to a live class, and now is getting hired to work part-time as a backup, or not a backup, as an extra, or like a backstage person. I'm using the wrong terminology here. For all of you that are actors, actresses, don't kill me, okay? I'm not an actor. But he's getting work in the acting field. And that took him about 5 months, which he still treats as a hobby because it's something that he loves doing. He's now just positioned himself in a way to now get paid for his hobby. So, conclusion. What's something that you want to achieve in your life? Is it minimizing your anger? Is it controlling it? Is it rebuilding your relationship with your loved ones, with your kids, with your spouse? Is it getting out of your job and starting a new business for yourself, something you've never done before? No matter what it is, the bottom line of today's talk is that in order to get the ball rolling, number one, we have to recognize what are our beliefs about ourselves and other people around us. Number two, we must discover what beliefs are catapulting us or moving us towards the things that we want versus the negative beliefs that might be pushing us down, holding us back. Number three, the negative beliefs, we now have learned to dissect them by writing them down on paper and asking ourselves a series of questions, like the ones I've mentioned to you earlier in this video. Take those steps if you are that person who really wants to transform the way he or she feels in terms of negativity, in terms of having these negative beliefs control you, if they are. And maybe for the first time in a long time, you might actually give yourself the gift of being able to control those negative beliefs so you can start steering your life in the direction that you want it to go, versus having emotions control your actions that oftentimes leads us to places where we actually don't want to go. You now have enough knowledge to take that next step. So if you're ready, go out there and take it.